teams for this match. On the blue side, it's going to be Evil Geniuses. That means it's Inox in the top lane, Helios representing in the jungle with Pobelter in mid, Altec and AD carry, and his support, as always, Crepo.
And on the red side, it's Cloud9. Up top is Balls. In the jungle, Meteos. Mid is High, the AD carry, Sneaky, and supporting Lemon Nation.
So who has the better ideas coming out of Champion Select? It seems that it itself in 4-11 was a very big place to pretty much just win the game and take your opponent out single-handedly. Now we see another little patch, and things are kind of altered a little bit more, and the games are getting even longer.
Yes, one of the things I do like about 4-11 is that the way that assists bounties are accumulated has been changed a little bit, just drawn it out a little bit more.
Right.
So it takes one more to get to that maximum streak. And you just feel, you don't feel as bad when you are the team that's ahead, because the team that's trying to come back doesn't have as easy of a time. It's a very small change, but it does help a little bit for teams that do get those leads. Helps teams close out. However, so far we've seen 4-11, longest games ever.
I like that they took out the Cog. That late game is gone. Tristana still stands, but Altec's been more of a Jinx player. Interesting as well is to see the Kog'Maw being banned out from Sneaky. He's been the one really to play it, so they fear that pick on both sides.
Yeah, it's pretty much finally made its way over here to North America and to be considered the top, if not, just one of the top 80 carries. For a while, in a lot of other regions, has been prized a little bit more highly. But banning that one out early means opens the door for the Twitch and the Lucian and the Corki, which are very interesting because they're all so different in what your team wants to do with them. And tells a lot about what type of strategy you're going for. Like if you pick Corki, then you want early and mid-game power. You want to finish it quick. We'll see what they go with here, though.
Very nice pressure ban coming out there. EG causes the Gragas ban to go out instead of probably a Lee Sin. Quickly picked up by Evil Geniuses there for Helios.
Yep.
He'll be happy on that. He's been trying some new stuff lately and other things that really weren't giving EG the kind of pressure they wanted in the early part of the game. If we remember Helios' first play, he was first blooding under a turret with the help of Inox on that Lee Sin.
Yeah, that Gragas as well has been rising in popularity.
Yeah.
About the same
timeline
as Kog'Maw. So Rise, we'll see if it goes mid or top. Could be either.
Ooh.
Early game power though with Lee Sin. I like this because you can punish a Rise early and dive him. Same thing you can do to Mundo though. If there's an early game jungler here for Cloud9, well, the Elisa and Evelynn are both banned, so with Lee Sin picked up, there's not a whole lot of early power that Meteos could go for. Meteos pretty much left with the Nunu or one of these other tank junglers that can use the Quill Coat.
Yeah.
I wonder which option he'll go with, because Rengar as well is still available. We keep on forgetting about that one. Meteos was one of the guys, along with Dominate, that put in a lot of time on Rengar.
Wow,
but back to the
Nunu. It's actually Helios playing Nunu last time these guys faced off in week 6. So they pushed that over to the C9 side.
Yeah, the Meteos Nunu with a Rise lane already. I guess it's not too bad because Mundo not the strongest early either.
Right.
We'll see what Meteos can actually do with this, because Lee Sin definitely has way more kill potential on lanes than Nunu does. But if he can get some early Sightstone wards down here from Nunu, then he can flip that, because Lee Sin, while he does get a Sightstone also, usually going for damage first. Get a couple long swords rather than rushing into a Sightstone. So Meteos should still probably have the early vision advantage. See if he can actually make it work though. The Yasuo locked in with only Thresh knockups available for the team.
Let's see if High can do this. Be the first time he's going to be bringing out Yasuo in the mid lane for Cloud9. We'll have to see if they can really get that synergy together. Yeah, like you said, he doesn't have much to really pop people up.
It's interesting because both of these teams do have strong late game scaling. Mundo is one of the best late game scaling tanks, and they've EGF paired a Mundo late game scaling tank with late game scaling AD carry here in Tristana. Meanwhile, Cloud9 have that Rise to count on, as well as Yasuo, who's very good in the late game because of the CC.
Well, if history repeats itself, we'll get that late game. Now it's time to put you on the spot and see how you guys are calling this matchup. According to LOLesports.com, it's another 70%-ish vote, and that's 79% in favor of Cloud9 here. EG is looking to rack up a little more than 21, and you can help that.
Yep. Once again, if you think that one of the teams will get an advantage or have already gotten an advantage with their team competition, then you can update your vote by tweeting at LOEsports and use the hashtag EGWin or C9Win.
Start crowding the social media airwaves and get behind your favorite team. Evil Genius is really looking to stop some bleeding here. This 5-game losing streak they have is kind of compounded. Super Weeks haven't been their best. They're 0-8 on Super Weeks. The last one, too, 0-4 with that math. So for them, needing wins here is a must. Yeah. They really need to start getting themselves back up in the standings here. And more than now the second half of the split, we're already into it.
Yeah, and what is their streak? 5 games in a row they've lost.
Yeah.
They want to put an end to that streak as early as possible. Some teams have been able to do it against Cloud9. You know, Cloud9
well, they already have one win.
Yeah, they've been such a wild card.
Hopefully that day, it's the ace in the hole coming out for EG this time. They would love to win here. Cloud9 looking to keep themselves as one of those stable, more top-tier teams that they've actually been falling out of this season as the 2-time champs coming out of the LCS splits recently.
All right, a sweeper from Meteos for the start. Let's see what Cloud9 do. Nunu is very, very good if he can get an early lead in the jungle. If Cloud9 can finagle their way to a level 1 advantage, then Nunu would be a great champion for taking advantage of that. Let's see, though. Everybody just screening so far. Might be a late invade still, though. You never know. They could still group up. Meteos as well with a regular ward to place down if they decide to go for that invade. Helios, though. Man, as a jungler, he has always been up for early fights, especially with Lee Sin. He is going to be looking for those fights.
His debut was to die and give Inox first blood. That was great. He'll probably do it over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, they got it.
They got a kill. So, worth his life.
A little love tap coming in from Lemon Nation and Alltech as they meet each other towards the bottom half of the map. At least they know, obviously, getting standard lanes, but they have the wards that'll tell them that already.
Sense of Balls is not scared of being killed by Mundo early, starting with the offensive mana crystal rather than boots to dodge cleavers or skill shots. He's got very, very high harass early here, this Rise. Mana crystal as well as mana runes versus Mundo. So we'll see how much he can punish him because you have to be very careful. Rise is strong 1 versus 1 if left isolated versus a lot of these top laners, these melee top laners. However, Rise can easily be ganked early and turn that completely around. When these melee champions get an edge on Rise, they can chase him down very easily, and Rise can't even lane anymore after that. Nunu is definitely one of the weaker ones, though. He doesn't have to be as scared as like if it was Aurelia he was facing, but Mundo can still chase you down in that long lane if he gets an early lead and is able to get cleaver positioning on you. So this top lane can be changed very quickly by jungler influence.
Great denial. He's still going to get it.
Right now, before 3 minutes, Balls should definitely have the upper hand, and he is taking advantage of it, harassing Mundo down. We'll see if Meteos decides to place his early vision to screen for Balls and try and protect Balls up in that top lane for the sort of classic Cloud9 play style, running a lot of plays out of the top side of the map.
I was going to say a much faster clip, but there's no gank coming out of it as he goes towards Wraiths. Helios finishes his red a little sooner, but Meteos has already taken his small camp, so he's going to be up towards that top lane after Golems. Like we said, may not see too much in that lane, but we'll also have to keep tabs on the usual Mundo gank. Is it going to happen before 5? Will we see it towards the top lane? It'd be pretty easy to cancel out, especially without having a ton of hard crowd control coming from Rise and Nunu.
Hang on to Rise early. They do call out that he's overextended. Meteos, he places the ward, but he doesn't sweep it. His sweeper was on cooldown too, so Balls not communicating that Mundo went over to that side bush to place the ward. Maybe Balls didn't get vision of it, but regardless, top lane going to be left on its own because EG know that there's a ward here from Cloud9. So Lee Sin will not try and gank that way, decides to change and go for mid instead. High baiting it out a little bit.
Very nicely played by Helios. Just playing it slow so he can get the max amount of damage on. Good aggression towards the bottom lane as well.
Hai should be cheating to the other side of the river, by the way, since he has a ward on the top side.
Yeah, good call.
Should definitely be hugging that side. Yasuo, though, he loses a lot of potency in lane phase if he's not free to dash up into the minion line. So you could see why Hai was just playing a little hesitant there. He wanted to draw out the jungler so he would be free to get some more CS during lane phase.
Right. Looking at his runes as well, it appears with the inside info, he's not running any crit with his page. A little different from what we usually see.
Yeah, a lot of people will go run the 5% so that when they get their Infinity Edge Static Shiv combo with the doubling passive of Yasuo, they can hit that 100% mark. Here it is, the top lane focus.
Oh.
Because EG knew there was a ward, they go for the lane gank, one of the other big pros of Lee Sin.
It looks like Pobelter make it hit up as well. Cloud9 trying to activate their own gank in the mid lane, and they are able to answer with the first blood.
Yeah, getting the flash out and the kill secured. Nunu with the high potency gank. Will EG go for a dive though? Ball's full health. Definitely need to back off here. So huge win actually for Cloud9 in the early game. Helios spending his time up top, whereas Meteos goes for the high percentage gank mid. Walks through. Oriana was pushing up. Hai had a minion wave to work with. That is just the juiciest time to go for a gank here. Well timed by Cloud9, communicating.
Yep.
Wave coming in, go for the gank now. Yasuo's easy at chasing people down through those minion waves. And it's all about this vision control from Meteos. We were wondering if he was going to be able to get that head start. He has just littered the entire map with wards. He covered top side first and takes that mid opportunity after the mid kill to get red side as well. So complete coverage here for Cloud9, as we're used to seeing them, you know, when they were in their heyday, the golden age of Cloud9.
Yep.
When they were beating not only the top teams, but also all the bottom teams.
It almost seemed like seamless wins would just kind of pile right in. Let's see if they can keep that pressure on in the mid lane. Good push onto Pobelter, but getting high going, especially on Yasuo, kind of been criticized about his champion pool. Now pulls out this. We'll see if the 1-0 can be carried a little bit farther into the late game. As we were talking a little bit earlier about balls getting ganked, we've actually seen Rises have like only 5 CS by the time everybody else is level 3 or 4. So we know he's going to get big in the late game, even if they put pressure on him.
It was yeah, and that's why we were looking for something from Meteos, whether it was counter gank or vision control.
Right.
And he did do the vision control, so it was a good job by Balls. Escaping that first gank was definitely huge for him. Only having to blow his flash gave him a lot of confidence as well. But flash blown should be a return from Helios, because still Balls is a very squishy kill, and it's a long lane where they have Mundo cleavers to spam.
Right.
Where Inox has the flash advantage over Balls. Should be a pretty clear call to go for maybe another lane gank if they're worried about vision control.
Lemon Nation getting body blocked out constantly by minions in the bottom lane.
Actually, you know what? With the flash available on Helios and Inox, that would be pretty much a guaranteed kill if he had gone up to that top lane.
I like Inox's first buy too, because it also kind of thwarts out Meteos' damage if he's to come in for the counter gank. So that Negatron cloak leaves him pretty strong to go into any 2v2s towards the top lane.
Yeah, straight up against Rise, definitely going to want to get his cowl as quickly as possible. The extra health regeneration on poke from magic damage is very, very strong for laning phase. And having started that health crystal, he'll be able to complete it very quickly. There you go. He's got his cowl. Return to base just for that,
priority
by the way.
on that.
Right back there to get it. So he should be able to stay close in CS now with Balls. And the harass won't be as big of a deal. However, you've got a Rise scaling up here with almost the highest CS in the game. He's just under the 80 carries. So Balls is feeling very, very strong about the way the early game has been going for him. And he's going right into the scaling items. Tier into the Rod of Ages very quickly for him. So Cloud9 will be pretty happy with that situation. But speaking of the bottom lane, maybe we check in down there, because it looks like Tristana will be going for a static Shiv, and Cloud9 take the opportunity for the back timing of the bottom lane to take that early dragon.
This is very much old Cloud9 play. They won't fight you for Dragon. They out-rotate you. They outmaneuver you, and you won't even have a chance to be there for Dragon. First one to Cloud9 at 9 minutes.
It's one of those things you really have to keep track of. Your timings to go back and purchase, or timings that you can force someone out of lane, are huge, especially when you're facing a Nunu.
Yeah.
Nunu can take early Dragon so easily. You have to be very careful. And you can use this against the teams that you're playing too. Timing the harass that you want to, when you want to go aggressive in your lane, with when your jungler is ready for something like that Dragon. Also, keeping track of the gold that your enemy has is very important.
Oh!
When they want to go return to base.
He just denied that.
He knows there's no Ignite Inox. That's why Inox is playing this so brazenly in the top lane, running right up to a Rise. That if, you know, Balls did have an Ignite rather than teleport, probably could have killed him there, but Inox knows he does not, and able to take it. Ooh!
A very great game of denial being played. 81-69 in that top lane. That last one, Balls was able to get in front of a siege minion. Now a bit of aggression to the mid lane. Uh-oh. Helios has a friend. He knows, though. Good ward from him. They're going to be able to quickly put Meteos in a bad spot, force a flash out of this as well. And Helios making a bad situation look good.
Now, he wastes a pink ward 5 seconds, 3-4 seconds after the flash is already there. There's no way he's going to catch up to Meteos.
Right. They thought they had Preppo coming in. A little miscommunication for
sure.
sure.
Yeah, it seemed like a waste of a pink ward for that jump there, because Meteos can clear that one out. He knows it's there. That's 100 gold. And it was a very good flash by Meteos, by the way, to get over that wall, because he knew if he ran down the river, he'd run into Preppo, as they're saying.
Bad news bears.
But yeah, 2 wards in that attempt for the jump. Just a little too late there. I think that first ward was just him failing it over the wall.
Gotta use the next one. So it looks like we have the Golem finished up on Meteos. His Golem Spirit is all done. Still looking for the Lizard onto Helios. Pretty close in names, don't get them mixed up. And just about 1,000 gold lead coming in, or at least 1,500 for Cloud9. Pretty normal. They're controlling the game as they usually do with that Rise in the top lane. You can see Balls is more than happy to just farm and kind of take cleavers to the face, denying Inox farm, which he's actually getting himself back up in. So a tanky Mundo in the late game is really what's going to help protect.
As I said, once you get that cowl, kind of give up on the harass game after the cowl. So Balls is using it all as mana here for CSing. CSing under turret, difficult for Rise without using his abilities. And he wants to stack up his tier anyway. So he's going to get that done. Spirit Vision complete means, yes, 100% give up on your harass of Mundo, because there's no way Rise without Ignite is going to kill him.
Ooh, very close. Preppo almost hitting a Winter's Bite there that may have activated Helios on the Russian. You can see High, he's getting a little antsy as well. Sets down a ward below him, a pink ward. So it looks like they're ready to gain control over that area quite soon. He's 107 to 102. Him and Pobelter are actually faring quite well together in that mid lane.
Helios strikes back, but he sees High leave the lane and waits a little while. The pink ward vengeance.
Nicely done.
They've got a long time till the next Dragon, though, since they missed out on the opportunity with their base timers.
They have their side warded for sure. You can see Meteos going to get control back of that lane. Helios is just watching Pobelter get knocked up. Oh my gosh. The aggression from High coming out. He just knows the limitations of his champion.
Didn't even have to burn Ignite.
No, nothing.
And as soon as Meteos sees that, makes the call to go for this blue steal. Well done by High. It's been a long time since we've seen a solo laner make a play by themselves. Especially since, High's been getting so much flack lately.
Yeah.
Let's take another look. This is a
people
pure...
been looking for him to open
Pobelter got overconfident because Helios is sitting next to him, but Helios waiting around there. Did Helios have his ulti for that? No, doesn't look like he did. But man, Pobelter wanted to shove because he had his jungler there. He felt confident in shoving, but Helios was backing off, not helping him shove. And High, great job taking that opportunity. Huge solo play from him.
Yeah, Pobelter feels like he would have been safe in lane. He actually goes straight Athenes, so High knows there's no armor to cut through there. Quite easy.
Good point. It does help him out a tiny bit with the lightning bolts. Lightning bolts from High, but definitely didn't help him out there.
Yeah. Still back and forth in this lane. Ball's able to keep a bit of a CS lead, but Mundo will be Mundo, even if he's 15 CS behind as we get into the late game.
Yeah.
50 seconds on Dragon. Teleports are going to be up for both top laners, and we may see one heck of a fight coming in. Good wards for Cloud9. A few pink wards have been cleared out by Evil Geniuses, but they still hold a good amount of wards themselves there, so they haven't lost all probability of this Dragon fight.
And as we do get, closer to the late game, this top lane that's both content to farm, if I was the one with the Ryze on my team, I would actually prefer that, because in the team fights, when you get to that phase, this Mundo, who's pretty much all magic resistance, just kidding, now he's got his armor, would have a hard time versus Lucian plus Yasuo. So good job here by Inox. Smelling a dragon fight about to come up, decides to purchase some armor before boots. He's actually heading down bottom as well, so maybe it is even EG who want to force this. But man, they gave up more free time for Ryze to farm, so Balls is going to be able to get turret pressure as well, and he can still teleport down to the dragon. Ooh. Oh, they catch out Lemon though.
Altec can't decide if he wants to go for the wall or not. That
they get the teleport.
Just happened as well. The teleport and Meteos blew his ultimate on the back line. Very interesting. Wow, the Dragon alive.
Pretty well played by EG.
Yep.
The bait right there. And they actually are going to force C9. C9 feel like they have to start this Dragon because they've committed. They've used the teleport. If they return to that lane, then they're the one's going to be down. However, it's a possibility to get a steal because even if you're Nunu, Lee Sin has an execute as well. It's not quite 50-50, but Hai makes a pick!
Pobelter back on the rift.
I believe Hai got that with his knockup. Hai started it with his knockup into ulti, and then
dove it.
Balls came over with the Rune Prison to ensure the kill. Another huge pickup there, and Hai making solo play after solo play makes it so that Cloud9, using their teleport, they don't have to pay for it, and they get the dragon and they get to return to lane. All right, so Hai charged up his, just straight runs at him with the flash to guarantee knockup, and Balls flashes as well to ensure that there's no escape for Pobelter. Huge plays here. Cloud9, again, looking aggressive early, jumping on any opportunity, and capitalizing very quickly. 5K gold lead pretty much for them.
Visions of the old Cloud9 right now, Kobe. They are playing very aggressive, assertive, like every fight is going to be a victory for them, and they disengage properly when necessary. Now they give Balls free farm in the top lane. Everything is going in their favor as they start to gain bottom control, and the split push is still in their favor.
Not really a fan of that teleport because there was no way EG were gonna get a kill off of that under the turret. And Cloud9 had already started to back off since they had missed everything and just gotten the flash already out of Braum. So teleport, maybe some miscommunication. Rough series of events here for Evil Geniuses. And they have decidedly lost this early game. A lot of people were mentioning in their losses, they didn't always lose it very early on. And
they'd have a little control.
It was mostly the later game, but man, have Cloud9 come out very strong in this early game.
Only looking for one more outer turret as they so far have a shutout here 17 minutes into the game in kills and for their turrets on the map. So their vision is on the up and up. Should be getting some forward wards placed out quite soon. Last Dragon was theirs due to a bit of a mistake by Evil Geniuses. Even though Cloud9 had just used practically every ultimate and teleported in, they were still able to get that Dragon.
Man, it is going to be a rough comeback for EG now. Mid and top turret are down. So Meteos on that Nunu with his early Sightstone can get down so much control over the blue buff of Evil Geniuses that Cloud9 should easily be able to control that one. If you can deny that from Orianna, very, very big for Cloud9 because Orianna is a lot of the wave clear. Altec is most of the rest of the wave clear, pretty much all of it, with Trist.
That's somebody who should keep an eye on as well.
Bottom lane.
Altec has been able to come out very strong on his AD carries. This is his first Tristana game. We'll see what he can put up.
3 though. Once again, stalemate in the bot lane.
His first Jinx game, he was able to put up a pentakill. See if he can do on Trist. I actually love the build path for Trist coming into the new patches. Just a little bit of burst as you get your static shiv first, and you can build all the damage you want. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Feels good in lane.
Burst for him, burst for Yasuo. Hai's got it as well. We'll see if Sneaky goes for it. Last time Sneaky went Infinity Edge into Phantom Dancer for the hard late game carry. Big fan of that Shiv though on it as well. We'll see what he has for this time. Good CSing under turret here for Balls, but he's running low on juice.
Good dodges. He'll be able to keep it up. Already bringing Minox down to half health. So you know in these fights, if these guys meet, that's going to be...
Oh, yeah, because he's got high coming in. If there had been no ward there, then it would have been a great job by Balls, softening Mundo up. However, Inox does have defenses in place, able to back off, and it's just going to be a return to base for Balls.
So High with 2 kills. Balls in the top lane with 1 previously. That flash on a Pobelter.
Yeah, he's antsy
flash
now.
from Pobelter as well.
Pobelter's real antsy now.
He has
after
to.
what happened last time.
The only thing he's got since we saw that Athene's is the penetration boots. And now with the teleport coming in, that's the blast coming out of Helios. He gets the dragon kick. That rage is going to be enough to keep Helios in range. The blast in. 1 more Q is not enough. Shield coming from Pobelter, actually. They're going to try to lock down Altec as soon as he gets out of the brush. They get it, and he forces the flash. Very nicely played. Cloud9 coming up big on all fronts.
Yeah, Rise has come to play, and Balls is going to be out of control this game. He got to scale up pretty much for free. And yeah, as we talked about, I'd definitely take him over a late game Mundo that was even farm.
Now he's doing some double scaling. Got the Rod of Ages going built up. He'll be fine. See how long he has on that. He's about 120 on the on it. It's charged up so far. Just picked himself up another kill in the game as we saw, and Cloud9 moving very surely and quickly down the bottom lane to a 2nd tier turret. They still have only lost top turret as of right now. 20 minutes into the game, they've got themselves a 7,000 gold lead.
I don't even know if Inox can handle him now, especially with red buff here. Balls, as long as Balls doesn't get ganked by someone else, he's pretty much got control of the map. He can do whatever he wants. He has no vision though. He's playing like he knows how strong he is right now. He knows that it's going to be rough for EG to do anything.
We'll see if EG can actually put that plan into form. A lot of wards to the bottom side right now are keeping Sneaky safe if he decides to go back down and farm. It looks like the rest of Cloud9 is pretty much happy waiting to pick up their small camps. They know Dragon's up in just a bit of time. They were the ones to take it previously after a fight win. We'll see if EG can try their hand now with the next Dragon.
Yeah, they've got plenty of vision lined up for it.
Somewhat in position. Not really though.
Whole bottom side of the map here. High with a red buff also, that would be very, very bad for EG to fight this. I don't think they want to. Maybe just some poke. They do have Inox teleport, but man, that's suicide.
Whoa, High only gets 1 for the ultimate. He goes for last breath, and they pull it right back into Meteos' ultimate of absolute 0. Perfectly played for their area of effect. Can they finish it off, though? Lemon Nation gets 100 health hook to keep himself alive as well with the help of Sneaky and Meteos still. Inox puts on the ultimate. It's going to get a little crowd control break there and get himself out with the HP.
Dragon already down, and EG get caught up. Another snag there from High. Able to get a 3-for-2 trade after objective already down. Cloud9 rolling their way to a mid-game victory.
Let's see who gets these kills. Whoever got the kill on High, it's good money.
High goes in. Yeah, exactly. The bounty is a big bonus for EG, but still, they lose a lot here.
Yeah.
Exhaust was also used there. Balls barely goes down. Lemon Nation gets a last-minute hook point blank onto Lee Sin in order to not make it a 3-for-3 trade. We do see that, you know, there is value in that top lane Mundo as well that got free farm. Very strong by himself. However, he doesn't influence the fight nearly as much as Balls did because Inox had to teleport down a little bit late since they were caught off guard. Those few seconds do mean a lot at the beginning of a fight. And Mundo doesn't exactly have a big effect when he joins the fight. He wants to have the overall damage over time, long-lasting effect of starting the fight there from the beginning, being able to tank and use up the regen for the whole time.
You almost want to be the focus, but not, so you can run around even more.
Exactly. You want to be the focus, but you want to get a shield or something so that you can ult when you're low and then survive the duration of your ult. So that's why I like it with things like Lulu or Orianna or Kayle, because those can all shield Mundo when he gets low as he pops his ult, which is his only vulnerable time. And as soon as the ult starts ticking, he starts regenerating back up. Then he's fun to play. And you have successfully baited out a lot of your enemies' spells. However, he's got 3 people near him, and he's got no shields to rely on. So dodge the hook is imperative.
All right.
Get the flash out. Doesn't even want to chance it.
Flash for a 3 roam. That'll do. He gets himself out safely. His teleport's still waiting to come up, so can't really get too far into enemy territory. That last fight, as you were saying, the shutdown onto High went to Pole Belter. From that needlessly large rod, he quickly built himself
Hey, High is really, Yasuo is very
headstrong.
good. Yasuo is very strong at taking mid-game Barons because of the wind wall. But on top of that, Meteos, Jungle Nunu, great for duoing Barons here. He can easily pick it up and heal a lot. EG have no idea at the very beginning because C9 were showing in lanes. Great Barons for them. 25 minutes
so big.
looking at a shorter game than than we had.
Don't jinx it.
I'm guessing.
Don't do it. We'll see. We're at 24 minutes. These guys have gone to 48. Week 6 game was 48 minutes, Kobe, so we'll see. Moving down mid lane. Cloud9 looks like they'll get an easy second tier here. They know the exact limitations of what they can do, and now with Baron buff, they're going to even be able to push that to 11. Slowly making their way out. Without Baron on the map, it's going to be this bottom lane push control, warding, and Cloud9 being Cloud9. Looks like they're back in form as we get into week 8.
Yeah, and third stack ship is completed. You're looking for it. Sneaky got his.
Yeah, there it is.
I'm glad he switched it up this time instead of the Phantom Dancer. Just because I'm such a huge fan of synergy and static ship. Static ship works so well on Lucian. He's one of the fastest AD carries, has a dash and a double shot. All of these charge it up quicker. Plus he's got blue buff, so he's going to be able to dash and double shot way more often here. Man, the story though is going to be Balls completing his Frozen Heart on top of the rest. He's pretty much scaled up to maximum at 26 minutes. Or I mean, to the maximum effectiveness he would want to be this early in the game. Already got the tier stacked, the rod stacked, plus a Frozen Heart. He is a beast right now. And rarely do we see Ryze hit this much power this early in the game.
Yeah.
Usually you have to wait because teams punish his early game. Not the case this time around. Also, High with his power spike, 2 items plus almost Infinity Edge completed. This is going to be rough for EG to say the least. Meteos is pretty beefy as well, going to be the front line, trying to zone for the team.
You can see the split push starting now too, Kobe. High's in the top, Inox is teleport and everything else down. He's forced to be with the team, so
Helios almost going to go for the insect there. Got 3 members mid. It would have been a 4 versus 5, and if he would have been able to kick Sneaky into the team, then it could have been an EG win, even 10k gold down and Baron buffed up. However, not been able to pull off because the max range Q doesn't hit. Even if it had hit, there are many, many options for Cloud9. You know, Sneaky could have had the reflexes to flash backwards before Helios could pull it off, but that was a small opening for EG. They aren't able to take advantage of it, and they return to losing out on gold.
Oh.
I get closed in on by more than 1 member, and a good early flash. Yeah.
Well played. Cloud9 setting back up. They know those little things cannot happen. That's why it's worth the flash. That's why it's worth really being safe in the next fight, because giving that up just gives too much control overall to the team for a little bit of time.
Yeah, I like how Cloud9 have not hesitated in the use of any of their flashes so far, and they've benefited. They've reaped the rewards of their decisive play. You know, the duo flashes around Dragon to secure a kill and secure the objective. Mid-game team fight means so much, and it's these small split seconds that often determine these games because the teams are so good at taking those little leads and turning them into wins.
Right, and if you keep doing that and keep showing that you're not afraid, you kind of get what Pobelter was doing for a little bit. He was playing on the back foot. We'd see him flashing in situations where he was really saving himself due to the fear of how hard Cloud9 would go on him. So they're now striking fear mentally in the minds of EG, gaining a lead off of that. And you can just see the lead in the mid lane, in the top lane, 3,000 gold differences, and then the 80 carries a 2k difference.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
It's not just on one person. Everybody's having a ball this game.
Measure the power in this game by number of infinity edges per team.
Pretty much 90% kill participation from High here. He's in the bottom lane. Nobody can stop him. He's more than happy to split push and soak up all of this farm. Now calling down a few members of Cloud9. See if he needs a little more help as the rest of EG sets up some defense.
Yep, nobody can handle the split push, so they easily get 2 lanes pushed up.
Yeah.
That being said, the siege, not the easiest thing for Cloud9. To break into the inhibitor turret line is always the hardest task of any of these teams, early game teams, to actually crack here, because it's all about, can Sneaky get a double shot in without exposing himself to an answer from EG. You have to always be worried about shockwaves as well as flash Braum ultis.
Good patience here from Cloud9, waiting for the mid as well to get pushed in, and they're going to start spreading Evil Genius's theta across this mid and bottom turret. Still remembering High can pretty much 0-1 person out. So if that person's going to be Altec there in mid lane, or whoever switches over, could be Helios even. But you can see the consideration Evil Geniuses is putting in this defense.
So they split it off to having Thresh in the fog of war here. I kind of like this because they're hoping they can draw one person up to High and then Lemon Nation land a hook over the wall to break the siege. If they could burst somebody down, catch a single defender, and then dive very quickly to burst them, then that could be an answer to actually crack inside. But barring that, you know, they don't have a lot of options of getting turret damage out, and it looks like they'll just wait for another Baron to draw EG away from the base, because wards were placed over the wall by Evil Geniuses, so Lemon Nation can't camp there anymore. He had to move out. But it was a good little look from Cloud9. I like the strategy there.
They're trying to make something happen. Usually kind of just walk up, take an inhib, walk out, but seeing not very long range attacks here. Like you said, Sneaky trying to get in for a double shot if he can, but it's not even the Triforce anymore that you really see Lucian's going, so it's not a huge impact of damage. Altec, not having the best game for himself, but still keeping up in CS and still ramping up on Tristana. 3 more levels, he'll have max range. Definitely be able to create an impact on the game. EG's doing a good job of holding the front line of their base, but it's only going to be so long. Meteos is Nunu, and they'll eventually just dive in once they're strong enough.
Yeah, Nunu would definitely be the point man for that dive. It's about all late game Nunu's good for, soaking up damage and zoning. To be fair, the attack speed difference of
that's true.
Snowball and Blood Boy is pretty big. Besides that, though,
little back and forth.
G get caught out on multiple fronts.
High going hard on the support. He's giving everything to Crepo right now. They're able to take it out with the help of balls as well. EG in all sorts on this engagement of trying to see what's going on in Baron. They've somewhat stopped it, but Cloud9 still feels strong enough to go again.
Yeah, Baron going to go down really, really quickly. They've got that blood boil on Sneaky.
Uh-oh. I don't think EG knows that they can move off of Baron that fast. They do now.
Yeah. It was a good little move to get some damage and get something out of the situation, but they have to be able to defend their inhibitor turret once again, we said. Now, this is the time for the dive.
Make it happen.
Baroned up, giant gold lead, and out of position EG. Even when EG get here, Cloud9 can actually focus his turret and finish it before all the damage gets through. Wind wall up!
Mundo's no ultimate. Inox goes in without having it.
Oh,
he gets taken down by Yasuo. Nice try by Pullbelter. Isn't going to be enough, though. Meteos gets a good lockdown on some absolute 0 damage. And Crepo and Helios are now trying to sort themselves out here as they're both forced to exit different sides of the stage, and they are then thrown off. Double kill coming in for balls. It's going to be 33 minutes in. They have the base to themselves.
All right. Congratulations to Cloud9. That should be game.
Yeah. Definitely a little bit faster coming down in this one. Cloud9 decisive out of the gate, coming in with the Rise pick and the top lane. High with his first Yasuo pick coming into the summer split. They're going to take a 33-minute match off of Evil Geniuses.
Consistency, you say. Looking for consistency from Cloud9, huh?
Trying to.
Well, they definitely get another notch in their belt there. Well played, well executed. Sort of the methodical game that you're used to seeing from Cloud.
Right. Dragon fight's going well for them. Even when it looked like they were kind of off in that one dragon fight, they were able to pull it out, get the timer. That's what we knew from Cloud9. They had multiple red buffs, multiple dragons in a row. They were just controlling everything. Nothing was owned by Evil Geniuses that game. And then, in the end, it seems like they kind of pulled an audible in Champion Select with the Yasuo pick. Usually we'll see teams put a few more knockups for that in there. But High Syndra hasn't been that well. There are a few others banned out, so he puts his hands on the Yasuo. He got a first blood kill for himself. Not first blood, but a single kill for himself in the mid lane.
High had his own knockups this game.
Yeah,
he had
absolutely.
really strong knockups, just all by himself, charging it up, and multiple times. He's the one that really got them the early game lead that they were able to turn into the victory. So, yeah, definitely confident with him not needing a lot of extra ways to pop off those late game Yasuo ults. Thresh, by the way, has 2 ways, so he's a good option. It's just not the super long range one that you see a lot of teams look for.
See, as they pack up their gear and think about the games that have to come in the week, where they stand in I should stand in the standings now, where they are in the standings, who's going to be moving up and who's going to be going down one more game that farther from the first place matchup. This team right here, Cloud9, really making a name for themselves out of that one, a form of Cloud9 we haven't seen in a while. Balls was able to hold top lane without any help and then come out to be a huge factor in the game. We saw that all the time from him on Shyvana, on Mundo, on Trundle previously, and he's starting to do it again. At least this one game. Maybe it's a new leaf for these guys.
I do like it going back to a very big threat in the top lane.
Right.
The late game scaling power of Ryze, rather than what everybody's been trending toward, these support champions up top or the super beefy tanks. Good to see Balls having that sort of impact again. And really, at this time, it wasn't about him getting that solo kill or making that flashy play up top. It was about him just avoiding the gank and staying alive to CS freely, knowing that he had that power in his pocket for later.
So now it's Cloud9 2, EG1 in their matchups. EG within the rest of the split still has a chance to even that out, so that's not too bad. Having a win against one of the top tier teams when you are trying to call it from the bottom is one of the wins you definitely want, because everybody thinks those are going to be the ones that put you even deeper in the rabbit hole. Right now we're going to send it over to Dash and Freak for more on Cloud9's win.
Thanks, Riv. I want to welcome High to the desk after a much speedier game.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It went much faster than the previous game.
That must have felt nice, right? Winning pretty efficiently and quickly.
I don't want an 80-minute game. I'm sure they didn't want an 80-minute game either, but those games are interesting to watch, I guess.
Absolutely.
They're bloodbaths, at least.
You're asking how do you top an 80-minute game? If you want to try to have a bigger mark on the scene, what do you do to top that?
Somehow win before 20 minutes? I don't know how you do that, but somehow win before 20 minutes. It'd be pretty freaking hard, though. Because a lot of mid lane champions right now are just all about wave clear. So, like, how do you end the game when they just clear the waves? So,
Old efficient Cloud9 style, man. You got to dive turrets all the time.
Yeah, that's
Work
fun.
out. Yeah.
All right, down to business. Last week when I spoke to you, you were definitely down on yourself. Weren't happy with your play, or really the team's play in general. What changed, though? Because we saw you come out really strong this game, and you guys just took over.
Well, Pole Bolter played too aggressively early game. He had one ward on the side of the left side. I saw him ward that. So the fact that he gave me a free kill with Meteos kind of snowballed the lane really heavily. He fell behind. And then I think also at like the 7 or 12 minute mark, Helos came mid to try to push out to take blue. And Pole Bolter also was too far out again, so I just killed him again. And those 2 kills kind of just gave us complete control of Dragon early game. And we just had a really good gank by Meteos that helped me a lot. So, I don't know. We just played it much better.
Well, you guys did obviously play really well. You brought out your first Yasuo of the split. You'd only played him, I think, twice before, 3 times before. And one sort of thing with you guys is it felt like you've been taking some time to try to find out how to play the game properly again. I remember at the beginning of 2014, you guys were like, oh, we're going to learn to play more aggressively. We're going to learn the style. It'll take us some time to catch back up. Do you guys feel like you've solidified the Cloud9 game plan right now?
I think we're definitely getting better, or at least on the right track. So the first half of the season, after I was still healing up, we're still trying to figure out like what to do, how to improve, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. We have a good game plan now. Our practice has been going much better. And I think just a lot of the faults earlier we had in the season was just my subpar play. I don't think I'm at the best I've been or ever, but I think I've been playing better. And that just translates into us having better games just because I do so much for the team as far as like shot calling. And if you're millimeters behind, it's just like the worst thing in the world. So I've been working a lot to try to make myself not, and what's a word that's the opposite of an asset?
Just heavyweight.
A detriment.
Yeah, I don't want to be a detriment to the team. So I've been working a lot to get better. And honestly, if you look at all the AD carries in North America right now, Sneaky's by far the best one. And when you have the best AD carry in North America on your team, it makes your late game that much stronger just because he's the best AD carry. So.
Of course. So then how about the morale of the team? You were saying that as long as you're feeling better about your own performance, you're okay. Is everyone else feeling confident about Cloud9 now? You guys ready to take to the top?
Yeah, so I think a lot of our play in the past few weeks has been very... Well, I'm looking for a word that's not
Passive?
Yeah, passive. Let's go with that. There's another word that starts. Moving forward, we've been very passive, I guess. So I don't like that playstyle. I don't think that is our playstyle. And it just so happened like this meta hasn't really been fitting us as well, but we're trying to do what we can to be more aggressive. Because back in the past, we'd always control Dragon, we'd always control buffs, towers, whatever. And lately, we've been giving them up. So we're trying to fix that. We're not giving dragons and turrets. So that helps a lot when they don't have free 2,000 gold from every dragon and stuff like that.
All right,
So.
well, speaking of aggressive plays, we actually have that 12-minute and 30-second solo kill from the mid lane. You kind of already touched on it a bit, but just walk us through it real quick. Let us know what's going on.
Okay, so I saw a few of those come mid, and I knew their blue buff spawn, so in my head I'm just thinking, he wants blue buff right now, and he's way too far out, so I tell my team to come mid just in case I need help, but he's out of position and just dies for it. They wanted to get blue buff for Oriana so he could start harassing me again, but he got too greedy for the farm and just sacrificed his life, and that was a pretty big throw by them.
All right, I want to touch a little bit more on the champion picks. We already talked briefly about the Yasuo, but we also saw Ryze come out. It's the first time that Balls has played it this year. He did play it 5 times last summer, 5-0, but it's been a while. So what have been the discussions around pulling out those new champions?
Well, the meta has been slowly shifting. Back earlier in the season, I believe, it was all about like the tanky top laners, and nowadays they're rising out to be like Lulu, Ryze, Kayle. Like the AP top laners have been like a huge thing recently, and Balls has always been good at champions that are like carry type champions that don't need to initiate, because he's not the most vocal person on the team by far, but he's like very good at being able to like carry his own weight and carry the game. But he just has issues initiating fights, so you give him a champion like Kayle, Lulu, or Ryze, and he just has to sit in the back line and do his job, and he's great at that. So this meta slowly shifting towards our favor again, and I think it'll definitely help out that he can start playing carry top laners again, and it's more 1v1s now instead of 2v1s.
So what do you think made that change then? Because not like Renekton and Shyvana have changed really any in the last 6 months or so. Why was it that you had to play Shyvana or Renekton every game, a few months ago, but now it's okay to play Ryze again?
Well, teleport mid is a huge thing now, right? So if you're playing Renekton against like a Jax, Ryze or anything, if Renekton doesn't snowball a game, he's just going to get outscaled, and then he actually doesn't do anything. So you see so many games where Jax just like becomes a monster against Renekton, split pushes, take turrets, ignore the guy. So without Ignite, you have no kill pressure in lane. Everyone can just run teleport. So lane dominant champions for top lane are just falling out of favor, unless they're just split pushing AP range ones that can like boil the lane the entire game. So it's just, back then, you could kill people. Renekton would run Ignite, you can tower dive Shyvana level 3, you could tower dive Mundo level 3. But you can't do that anymore, and that just makes lane dominant champions like Renekton gone. Shyvana's still good, but the AP top lane champions are just the best at the moment for this meta.
Okay.
All right, well, we're actually going to jump now to the end of the game since it was such a short game.
Yeah, sure.
About 34 minutes in, you guys are knocking on their first inhib turret. With the Baron buff, we're going to pull up the replay. Just explain to me what the calls were to keep going in face tanking the turret.
Well, we were committing to the turret, and I believe if I use Wind Wall, we get the turret. I'm pretty sure I Q onto their Helios and Ultium. I didn't say anything here, but at this point in time, we're just doing what we normally used to. We don't have to talk that much. Everyone just knows what to do, and we're just killing the right targets. We get Tristana, like, Balls is just in the middle of the team right now, doing like 20 billion damage, not dying. So it's just like, they can't ignore the Ryze, and they just lose this team fight. They're too far behind in gold, and we could force a fight like that. They would have had to give up that turret and inhibitor to try to come back into the game, but not only did they get outscaled, that was their last-ditch effort to try to come back into the game. So they couldn't do too much about that when we can just brute force a turret and tank it and still kill them. So
I have a couple follow-ups on that one. I want to touch on what you just said a second ago, which is that you guys would be able to brute force that turret. We've had a lot of slow games recently. Super Week, I think the second day, had like the longest average game length of like ever in the North American LCS. We just had an 80-minute game. Is this a lot of teams sort of being too passive, or the word you're going to use earlier? Like, are there more forces that you're seeing while watching these games, or is just like, the champions that are getting played? I mean, you mentioned wave clear mids, but is it sort of the game doesn't allow pushing much faster, or are 32-minute games like this much more possible?
I think games generally will be long games unless teams get snowballed on that hard. But with everyone playing like Ziggs, Syndra and stuff, it's very hard to tower push on that because Ziggs can kill the waves. Syndra has kill pressure on your AD carry, and he's the only one that can actually hit the turret. So when you have like these two champions that are very annoying to push versus, be like the most dominant champions at the moment, it makes the game hard to end out early. But the reason we got to end that game so early was because they made a bad call to try to push mid after we did Baron, because we could just run straight down and get the turret before they get back. So I think there are teams that are probably too passive with their leads. Say, for example, I think we played Chris last week. They had like 15,000 gold.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they could have ended that game earlier, but they were playing passive and scared, but they would win the game eventually. I think teams just don't want to throw and try and stay consistent, and teams are avoiding doing aggressive things at the moment just because the meta has changed. So like if you lose a team fight end game, you kind of just lose the game, and no one really wants to do that. So it's kind of annoying to play like that.
All right. Final question is that with this game, you're now 11-8, which puts you automatically at a tie for third, given the end of the day, as two of the first place teams will lose as the day continues. Given that you play TSM tomorrow, who is one of those four teams, that's your chance at like bumping right up into that top slot. What's the game plan?
The game plan against TSM has always just been avoiding dying to beginners in the mid lane. Not only is he a phenomenal 1v1 laner, he also has the jungle pressure that's almost always near mid. So you have to be really afraid, and a lot of mid players will play differently versus him, just because he's such a good player and he has the jungle pressure. So against TSM, I'm going to do my best not to die to them, and hopefully the game goes well for us. And I can't go into too much more detail, obviously, because, you know, they're probably... Well, they're not listening because they're on stage right now.
Absolutely. They got that white noise pumped into their headsets, so you're good. Give away all the secrets.
I think I broke Turtle's mouse today, too, by the way. So
What?
I lost my mouse
Sabotage.
today, and I asked to borrow Turtle's mouse since he used the same one as mine, and it kind of broke when I was using it, so yeah.
But you won the game with the broken mouse, so I mean...
Yeah.
I had to use a different mouse that I've never used before, so that was interesting.
Oh, my goodness.
good
All
luck
right.
for you.
Well,
It worked out.
well, we'll see how that
I'm
affects...
sorry, Turtle.
Yeah.
I apologize.
We'll see how that affects Turtle in a moment, but first I want to thank you for joining us here at the desk. Congratulate you again on a very methodical win. All right, we're going to sweep the champs off the riff, but when we come back, we'll be reading our favorite Twitter responses. Then it's on to our next match, CounterLogic Gaming versus TSM. Stay tuned.
Cloud9? More like Cloud Wine when we're done with this game. Am I right, guys? No?
You can see Meteos going to get control back with that lane. Helios is
I just get that solo!
He goes for last breath. They pull it right back into Meteos' ultimate of absolute zero. Perfectly played for their area of effect. Can they finish it off, though? Who knows? No ultimate. Inox goes in without having it.
Oh,
He gets taken down by Yasuo. Nice try by Pobelter. Is it going to be enough, though? Meteos gets a good lockdown on some absolute zero damage.